I caught my husband cheating on me, so I filed for divorce, but then he started stalking me and threatening my life. My husband and I got married when I was 17, and he was 21. He had recently been enlisted in the Navy, and was shipping off to sea, while I was escaping a bad home life. After about 6 months, he gained weight on purpose to fail his physical exam so he'd get kicked out of the Navy. When he came back after his deployment, he wasn't the same person anymore. I figured it may have been due to the trauma and stress of being in the Navy, but the truth turned out to be my worst nightmare. Our relationship started to slightly decline while he was still out at sea, because he would rarely ever reach out to talk to me, saying he never had the time to. When he came home, he would sit at home all day, watching anime and day drinking, saying he was applying to jobs. Meanwhile, I would be busting my butt working full-time while trying to keep the house well maintained by myself. One day, I was applying to universities when my laptop died on me. I asked to use his laptop briefly to finish the application, and while doing so a message popped up on his Facebook notifications. The message preview was a topless pic from his ex-girlfriend. I was shocked and opened it to find that they'd been talking to each other for a long time. They had gotten in contact again while he was at sea in the Navy. They would email each other back and forth, even though he never contacted me. In their most recent messages, he had said how he missed having big honkers like hers to play with, and how mine were so small that he felt like he was playing with a boy or a child. When I confronted him, he just made a bunch of pitiful excuses. I told him I was filing for divorce, and I had my friends come to the house later that day and kick him out while I was at work. I moved in with a close friend that weekend, and started researching divorce lawyers. Over the next few weeks though, I noticed his car frequently driving by my friend's house late at night. I texted him and told him to stop driving by, but he insisted he was just checking on me. I told him he didn't need to check on me and that I am no longer his obligation anymore. He then said that our vows before God made me his property, and things of that nature. I told him he was making me uncomfortable, and that I did not want to speak to him anymore. After that, I blocked him and thought that would be the end of it, but I was wrong. He continued to stalk me for the next few years, and I decided to file a restraining order on him. He made posts on his Facebook about how I was a coward, and started to send me emails and call from blocked numbers to tell me that a restraining order is just a piece of paper. I then found out that he had bought a gun, and had started telling our friends that if he can't have me, no one can. At this point, I knew I couldn't stay in my hometown, because I started to heavily fear for the safety of myself and those around me. I ended up talking to our friends, telling everyone conflicting information about where I was going, and then moved states. I deleted all my personal social media accounts and lived in fear for years, watching him continually make posts about how he loved me and do anything for me. Throughout this entire ordeal, I was afraid to officially divorce him, because I was afraid of what he would do to me if he saw me again. It took 8 years for me to finally get the divorce from him. I now live miles away and have since changed my number, so I've been able to breathe a bit, but I can't help but feel the need to still look over my shoulder every now and then.